Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Books with Meena. I'm Meena and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So half of 2021 is over and who is surprised, but at the same time all of us are surprised. I read quite a lot of books this year. The past 2 months in I would say May and June I haven't been reading as much, but overall in the first half of 2021 I read 31 books, which is a good amount and I'm happy with what I read. And looking back at the year reading wise, I would say that I did read quite a lot of good books and I enjoyed a good bunch of them, but nothing really stands out to me, which is a little bit of a bummer. But otherwise I would say that it was still a good reading year and I did still enjoy reading, even though I was in a little bit of a reading slump the past 2 months, and I also didn't post any videos in the past, I would say 1.5 to 2 months, and now I'm back. Let's just jump right in with the mid-year book freakout tag. So starting with the first question is what is the best book that you've read this year? And for that I could pick multiple titles, because I did give out 5 stars to a couple of books this year, but I went with Parachutes by Kelly Yang, and this one is a YA hard-hitting contemporary, and this one tackles a lot of issues regarding race, identity, immigration, and also one of the main topics that this book tackles is sexual assault and predatory behavior towards young girls, because both of our main characters are in high school. And this book was just very impactful, well written. It definitely made me feel a lot for the characters. 2 of our main characters, despite being so different and coming from different backgrounds, both of them were very rootable and felt like very just real people. And this book was just very good. Like, I don't know what else to say. Definitely read it if you can handle some of the harder topics that this book talks about. Otherwise it's just all around really good, well written. Definitely evoked a lot of feeling from me, especially anger, because of how people aren't able or allowed to raise their voices to seek justice for themselves, especially with marginalized groups. So yeah, Parachutes by Kelly Yang, best book of 2021. The next question is the best sequel that you read in the year of 2021, and for that I went with A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, and this one is a YA high fantasy series. This one is the 4th and final book in the An Ember in the Ashes series, and I read this at the beginning of this year, and this one was a very satisfying finale to a series that I have been invested in for the past, I would say, 2 to 3 years. So it's been quite some time, and again this book is flawed, it's not perfect, but this easily the best sequel title goes to this because of how much I was invested in the characters for these past couple of years, and the fact that I have just been reading the series and loving it for quite some time. And I was quite hesitant and apprehensive going into the finale because I wasn't sure if I was going to be satisfied with it, how everything was going to turn out, but it turned out quite well. And definitely another book where it was just a huge roller coaster of emotions, high stakes, lot of drama, epic battles, all of that. So yes, best sequel. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet and you want to. So for this one, I went with Witchshadow by Susan Dennard, and this one is another YA high fantasy series that I have been reading for 2 to 3 years, and I have been invested in these characters and this world for quite some time. So Witchshadow came out pretty recently, I think in the month of June, and the last book that I had read in this series was Blood Witch, which came out 2 years ago. So the wait has been quite long, and I remember really anticipating the release of Blood Witch and then reading it and somewhat being disappointed by it, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue on with this series. But now that Witchshadow is out, and I have seen some reviews here and there talking saying that the book is really good and a very good installment in the Witchland series. So now I'm again excited to read Witchshadow and be a part of this world and get back to following these characters. The next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the next half of the year? And for this I'm going to go with The Heart Principle by Helen Hoang, and Helen Hoang has written The Kiss Quotient and The Bright Test, which both of these books I have read. So this is The Bright Test, and I also own The Kiss Quotient, and honestly both of these books aren't perfect. Again, I definitely I enjoyed The Bright Test more than The Kiss Quotient. There were some things I disliked and liked about both of these books, but overall they're just really fun and cute. They're like steamy contemporary romances, and they also feature some new neurodivergent character written by an Asian author. So all of that is, really nice. And overall they're not bad, and I am looking forward to The Heart Principle, which is the third book in this companion romance series. And that one follows Kwan, who was introduced to us in the first two books, and he just seems like a really fun, interesting character, and I cannot wait to read his story. And if I'm not wrong, The Heart Principle also focuses on a character that has OCD, so that is also something to look forward to. The next question is, what was your most disappointing read of 2021? And for this I have two answers. The first one is going to be All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is the first book in the Murderbot Diaries, which is an adult sci-fi novella series. And this one you're following a sentient, like artificial intelligence, robot-like being called Murderbot, and it is a novella. So I'm not used to reading science fiction, so this book just fell short for me in many ways, mostly because of its length. I had heard some like really positive reviews saying that this book has a really nice sense of humor, it's very fun, and the characters really jump off the page, especially the main character, and the world is also like innovative. And I just found that while the characters were fun, I just did not really connect with them, or even the humor did not really connect with me. And the book really did not have much else to offer, at least to me, because of its short length. So we don't really get much of a plot, much of world building. So it was still an enjoyable read. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, but it disappointed me because I had heard such good things about it, and I just did not like it as much as other people seem to. The next one is going to be The Intimacy Experiment by Rosie Danan, and this one is the sequel companion to The Roommate by Rosie Danan, and that one I read last year and I enjoyed it quite a bit. That book surprised me, and I was really looking forward to Naomi's story in this one. So this one, if you don't know, is a contemporary romance, and it focuses on like Intimacy Experiment focuses on a sex worker who has now turned into a sex educator. So that this one had some really interesting conversations going on overall, and I still liked this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked Naomi. Like I said, I was totally looking forward to her story because she just was introduced as this like badass boss bitch, and I was totally down to read her story. And I was anticipating this release for 2021. And it just fell a little short for me, probably because I went into this with such high expectations. So, maybe the book couldn't live up to it. So yes, disappointed me a little bit. Next is the most surprising book that you've read for 2021. For this, again, I have two answers, and the first one is going to be Milk Teeth by Amrita Mahale. This one, I went into it thinking it's about like these two childhood best friends, Karthik and Neera, and it's taking place in 1997 Bombay. So I thought this one would be like a sweet, easygoing romance story set in this like historical backdrop, but this one turned out to be quite poignant and just very relatable and impactful for me. Again, not a perfect book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but this one has stuck with me quite a bit and really resonated with me in so many ways. So maybe, that thing really surprised me, that this book has stuck with me and impacted me so much. And I definitely recommend it. It's a different kind of a book. It's leaning more towards like literary fiction or historical fiction. But I really did enjoy this book and liked what it had to say and all the nuances and complexities, the way these like subject matters were handled in this time period with these two characters. The next one is going to be Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis, and this book I went into it knowing that I would probably like it because this book has a lot of good reviews and so many people do tend to like it a lot. But while reading this book, I just was very confused because I wasn't sure where the story was going. Like, what are these characters trying to do? Do I like them? Do I not like them? I just had so many I was just like hesitant once I reached the halfway point of this book. I just didn't know if I would end up actually liking this book based on the writing style and some of the characters and some of the decisions that these characters made. But in the end, when I did finish this book, I ended up loving it quite a lot, and the direction that everything went in, the way everything panned out, all the conversations that were had about sexual assault and rape culture, I thought were very well handled and well done. So yeah, this was another book that surprised me because I went into it thinking I would like it, and halfway when I was done reading it, I was not so sure, but then by the end it again surprised me and I ended up loving it quite a lot. The next question is your favorite new author. This could be a debut author or a new to you author. So for this one, I'm going with Thick as Thieves by Megan Whalen Turner. Basically, Megan Whalen Turner, who is the author of the Queen's Thief series, another YA high fantasy series. And this one is the 5th book. I have read all of the first 5 books, and I still have the 6th book left to read. And this series has quickly become like one of my favorites. It's really well written, well plotted. Like every word and sentence in this series, in these books, is like very deliberate and well thought out. Even the character work and the world building, the politics, the everything just happening in this series is so well done. And these books in the beginning, they might not like grab your attention right away, but though all the work done, like the character work, the world building, the plotting, everything is on the more subtle side, and then by the end things just like sneak upon you and surprise you, and then suddenly you're attached to the characters and you're very invested in what's happening in this world with the different like kingdoms and queendoms and the wars going on. It's just very well thought out and well planned, and I enjoy these books so much. So yes, Megan Whalen Turner is one of my new favorite authors that I have encountered this year. The next question is your new fictional crush, and I don't really get fictional crushes that much, so I am changing this question to your favorite new OTP, which is One True Pairing. And for this I have 2 answers. The first one is going to be from Stay Gold by Tobley McSmith, and in this we have Georgia and Pony. Both of them were just like really cute. They had like a lot of banter, and they had, they were just like a really cute couple. They gave me all the ooey gooey romance feels, and there were definitely some like more hard-hitting moments in this book where I definitely felt for the characters. But yes, Georgia and Pony are just perfect together, and I really like them. Another one would be Charming as a Verb by Ben Phillip, and this one we have I'm forgetting the characters' names. I think it's Henry and Corin if I'm not wrong, but basically the main character and the love interest in this book, they were also just really cute. They have like their personalities are a little different and they complement each other quite well, but again they make like just a very cute couple with like a lot of banter. They start off as friends, and the relationship, the way it progresses, is very organic and natural, which I really liked. So both of these couples are just like from cute YA rom-com type of books. Your new favorite character, and for this I would probably go with every character present in the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner, this book. And we have a lot of characters that are introduced to us. We do tend to, like from book to book, we do tend to jump perspectives. We tend to be introduced to new characters. So we have Eugenides, Atolia, Sunis, and Edis. We have Costas. We have like so many characters that we are introduced to, and each of them, like I said, in the beginning you might not be hooked onto the plot or the characters of these books because the whole like building of the story is subtle. So these characters you don't like fall in love with them immediately, but like the more that you read these books, the more that you understand them, and they're just like very well written. You understand their motivations, their personalities, all of that, and I love each and every one of them. I think they're just so well written, and also just like very interesting characters who have like their own sense of humor or their own quirks and charms. So yes, the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner. The next question is a book that made you cry, and for this again I'm not sure if I did actually cry while reading any book this year, but if I had to give an answer I would say Just Last Night by Very McFarlane. And this one is an adult contemporary, and it's basically about the process of grieving, and this whole book talks about what it is to lose a loved one and to adjust to this new reality where this person doesn't exist. And I think that topic was handled quite well, even though I cannot really speak for it, having not much personal experience with it, but overall I think that this book was very emotional, and I felt for these characters. Definitely made me very emotional, which is why I put it on this list. And overall, Very McFarlane is an author I have read from before, and I think her books are a very good combination of lighthearted and fun plus some more hard-hitting content, and that is like meshed well, quite it's like meshed well together. Another answer would be Stay Gold by Tobley McSmith, and this one I have mentioned before. It does have like the cute romance and some like friendship and coming of age aspects to it. So there are some happy moments in this book, but it does have those more emotional and intense moments, especially in the second half of the book, because one of our main characters is a trans guy, and you get to see again, trigger warnings for transphobia and body dysphoria, dysphoria. all of those things. So this book made me tear up definitely a little bit, because at one point the characters were just going through such a hard time that I couldn't hold myself back. And at another point I teared up, because of happy tears. I was just, happy because our characters got their happy ending. The next question is a book that made you happy. For this I have two answers again, and the first one is going to be Last Tang Standing, if I'm not wrong, and I'm forgetting the author's name, but I'll put it up on the screen. And this one is an adult rom-com. I would say it's very much like a fusion of Bridget Jones' Diary meets Crazy Rich Asians, and this one was just a lot of fun. It's told in diary format. Our main character, Andrea Tang, is like just all over the place. She's like a very fun character to follow because of how relatable and messy she is. A lot of the instances in this book are very just, messy and funny and chaotic at the same time. So this book definitely put a smile on my face because of Andrea's personality, the way her personality shined through, because of the diary entries, and just all the shenanigans that take place in this book with her and her friends, and even all the love interests. All of that was just a lot of fun to read. Another one would be How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams, and this one is another like adult rom-com, and this one is just like very cute. It just, it's like the perfect book to read if you want like a very cute, wholesome type of relationship between two characters who are just, cinnamon rolls, and you want them to be together and just have like all the happy, cutesy, romantic moments. So yes, How to Fail at Flirting definitely put a smile on my face, mostly because of their banter. It was just like very nerdy and fun, and just, yeah, it put a smile on my face. It was a really cute book. The next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you have received this year? And for that I would say Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. This one is her newest release, and I was like, this is a new Nicola Yoon book. I definitely want to read it. I will give you my thoughts on it later, but as for the cover, I really like this cover. It has like a very summer spring feel to it. It has blue and pink, and you can see our two characters dancing, because a ballroom dancing is a part of this book, and it's just a really beautiful, cute cover that I really like. Another book that I would like to mention, which I actually haven't received or bought for myself but definitely has a really beautiful cover, is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Bowley, and this one is also YA. It's like a crime thriller, mystery thriller, and it's taking place in the Ojibwe community. So this one is definitely quite a hard-hitting book, and it tackles a lot of topics. I have a review for this book on my channel, so if you want to watch that, you can definitely go ahead and watch it if you want to, read the books to read by the end of the year. And honestly, there are a lot of books that I have to read by the end of the year, but right now I am focusing on getting my physical TBR to a minimum. So the two books that I would mention would be Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. This one is YA contemporary. I'm not quite sure. I have read from Melina Marchetta before, and I have loved whatever I have read by her, so I'm looking forward to this one. This is, I think, her most popular book. And the other one would be A Murder on Malabar Hill by Sujata Masse, and this one is taking place in 1920s Bombay, and our main character is Parveen Mistry, who is investigating a murder, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, so these are the two books that I am prioritizing finishing in the next couple of months. But apart from that, I do have a lot more books to get to and finish, which is, it's gonna happen somehow. The question for this video is going to be your favorite adaptation that you saw in 2021, and obviously I'm going to go with Shadow and Bone. This one was released on Netflix. It's an 8-episode series, and this was the first season. I watched it, really enjoyed it, definitely liked all the changes that they made and how they incorporated the crows into the storyline. It was just like a fun ride, and the cinematography, the acting, everything was very good. I again have a review for the Netflix series of Shadow and Bone on my channel if you want to watch it. Another one would be Emma, and that one would be the 2020 version, which I actually watched this year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just very quirky and funny, and just like fun to watch. All of the Jane Austen adaptations are just like, very comforting to me. They're very like, fun and slow and cozy. And with Emma 2020, it was just apart from being comfortable and cozy, it was also just like a lot of fun. And I think that the quirky sense of humor really like brought it to life and made it quite different from the previous adaptations. And the last one I would like to shout out would be How to Buy a Friend, and this one is a K-drama. It was, I think, adapted from a webtoon, so it's not technically a book, but it's a webtoon. So I guess I'm just gonna like shout it out because I really liked it. It's an 8-episode mini series, and this one is taking place in high school where these teenagers are investigating a murder that happened a year ago, and it was just, you know, very fast paced, very thrilling, with, you know, some well written characters. The atmosphere was great. Some of the poetry in this was also really good. So yes, How to Buy a Friend, a K-drama. I have gotten into K-dramas this year, and it's a problem because I have binge watched so many of them, and I basically do nothing apart from watching K-dramas the whole day. So that's definitely a problem. But yes, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comment section below what is the best book that you have read so far this year, or what is the worst book that you have read so far this year, if there is any book like that. And you know, be sure to give this video a like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you wish to do all of these. And that is it for this video. Goodbye.